Okay, looks like Zoom has us live. Let's see what's the whatty what on the YouTubes. There we go. Yay, we're live. Good morning, everyone. My name is Sheila Corona. Welcome to New Light Streaming Love. If you are watching, you know what? I didn't even hit record, so that's okay. I'm not going to put this over on Sassy C or Sheila, but if you are here from Sassy C or Sheila, I really appreciate you following me over here. And yeah, so I didn't do a live yesterday and or Friday night for that matter. I I really wanted to, but oh my gosh, the headache. It just the pressure really got to be too much for me. Um, and so I did not do that. And yesterday was pretty much the same. Now, this morning I'm feeling pretty good. And however, some other members of my household are not feeling all that great. Today being the first Sunday of the month, I have a family thing happening in Zoom later on. And I am going to be meeting with someone else. I'm not sure if we're going to be recording today or not. But I did do a conversation with a young man, Jonathan Skinner, in regards to his out-of-body experience and having met Jesus. If you have not seen that, please do go and take a look at that on the channel here. And let me just say, and I want to put that out for anyone and everyone who has, oh my, the singer of Transfiguration and Jihabya both came out from the fairies oracle. And today we're going to go with, I'm going to give the Rumi oracle a rest. And we're going to go with the journey of love. I believe, is that what this is? Or is this this actually may be the Sufi wisdom oracle. Yeah, this is the Sufi wisdom oracle. There we go. Like, honestly, I have a lot of cards. And so, at any rate, the Singer of Transfiguration I'm seeing here is card number 11, which is all about, it's a master number. What is it all about, actually? I'm going to have to check into that exactly what everyone else, there's lots of different ideas about numbers, and anywhere you look, you might find information. Okay, so I feel led to say this here. I've been made aware over the last 24 hours or so of some groups that I used to belong to are sort of, there's a lot of stuff going on, right, in these groups. And I've said this for a long time. I said it back when I had Conscious Conversations Central here on YouTube. I've said it many times on Corona Rising, and I've said it on Sassy C or Sheila. So let me just say it here too. Good morning, Mark. So glad you could join. So for me personally, I've come to recognize that every individuated portion of the all that is, I am an individuated portion of the all that is. Mark, you are an individuated portion of the all that is. Every being, everything, actually, in my view, is an individuated portion of the all that is. For me personally, I feel this with all of me, and this is why the experience was had by me of having internal guidance that Corona was going to be viral. In 2017, that was the message I got. Well, I had just started a YouTube channel, and my inner guidance said, Corona will go viral. So I was in the midst of a divorce at that time. And I have a grown son who will also be changing his name to Corona. I asked both of them, would you prefer that I change my last name before this YouTube channel goes viral? Because that's what my inner guidance has said. Now, of course, they both laughed at me and said, no, because neither one of them thought I would. And as it turns out, no, I haven't. But no one can deny that Corona went viral. I got that information in 2017, but I interpreted it incorrectly. So for me personally, that also put me on a path to being shown over and over and over again that we are all channeling our higher being, sometimes our lower being. Um, and yet, so I take anything and everything anyone says, A, with a grain of salt. B, I just heard my words coming out of yet another person's mouth saying, if somebody tells you they know what is going on here and how to navigate through it, my advice, run. Run like hell. Because I just don't think that's the case. They're either trying to sell you something or convince you of something, trying to manipulate you in some way. That's my own personal feel about it. Now, along with that, and I said this back in 2017, and quite frankly, it has cost me several beings to just like up and leave and not look back and not talk to me anymore or anything like that. Anyone who creates a system and then monetizes it must now protect that system at all costs. If that is the way we are making a living, is through the information that we're sharing, well, you can't be seen as being wrong. It's another reason why, personally, I am not interested in charging anybody for anything because this is all an experiment for me. And I can only share with you what has worked for me. It may not work for you, mostly because you are here to experience things in a completely unique way to me or to anybody else. That's part of the whole design, to be honest with you, in my view. So I kind of, again, I take all of that with a grain of salt. And the fact is, puzzle piece collector that I am, I've seen, sensed, and felt how many channelers, how many folks who research and give information, they're doing it through their own perception filters. And what I mean by that is your experiences from the time you entered this game, the planet, or whatever, you create an experiential filter, right? And everything that passes through, all your thoughts, all your feelings come through that experiential filter. And if one is not open to seeing where, oh, hey, maybe I got that wrong, then it's just going to be a whole bunch of trouble for them. But see, Like I said, once you create something that you are now trying to sell to folks, well, that system has to be protected at all costs. And it can't be wrong and things like that. But what if also what I've seen is that we all get the same information, but it comes through your perception filters. So you give it in a little bit of a different way. The very first time that this conversation came up like this, I had been asked to edit a book, a book that was being ready to be self-published. And I happened to notice that the story in the book was really the same story that a lot of folks were telling, just using different words, different thoughts, different methods of seeing it. And that person absolutely cut me off at the knees and never spoke to me again. Well, that's a sure way of, of knowing I might have been on to something, wouldn't it? Oh my, this is very interesting. Ending a trauma, transform memories and symptoms. Several of these came out actually. Three different ones showed themselves. Time to play, make time to dance and play, and accepting challenges, trust your inner resources. So we're going to go with those for today. That's what the reading is going to be, okay? And we're going to start with this Sufi wisdom oracle. Let's go with accepting challenges first, shall we? Trust your inner resources is the guidance here. There's a quote: rise above time and space, pass by the world, and be to yourself your own world. Shabastari. Okay, I've never heard of that one. The only Sufi I've ever heard of, actually, the most famous one, of course, is Rumi. And some of his work is in this book. Uh, so every time we face a difficulty in life, it presents us with an opportunity to turn inward and invoke our own inner resources. For pure love that does not seek self satisfaction, nothing is impossible. In fact, we develop strength when we endure difficult conditions. Well, I really feel like that's a true statement. I will tell you this. That is one thing that I now see about myself. I am one strong mama jamma. And the reason is I've been through an awful lot in my life. And so that, I really do feel like that's a true statement right there. We feel the exhilaration of victory as we accept challenges by engaging our inner resources to overcome them. If you are facing situations you know are critical to your success, but feel powerless to perform, it may be because you feel the challenges are beyond your capability, your abilities, not capabilities, abilities. Sufi wisdom is guiding you to look beyond incidental events and not just react haphazardly. The divine pearl embedded inside you will help you overcome any challenge life presents. Most of the greatest discoveries have emerged from despair, loss, and heartache. I know that to be true myself. Dear one, you are gifted with mental resources such as determination, self worth, and kindness that make you resilient. You are capable of coping with with adversity and pushing through challenges in the pursuit of opportunities. The seed of power lies in your ability to face the challenge, open the door to major breakthroughs, and leave nothing to chance. Dig deeply inside and use your strengths to to solve any problem you face. There's a mantra that goes along with these cards. I am turning to my inner resources to respond to whatever is taking place in my life. Well, I think that's good advice. I don't care who you are or what you're doing. So now let's take a look at ending trauma, because the truth of the matter is, for me anyway, I see where every being on this planet has suffered trauma. Now, a lot of folks would disagree with that. Oh, I've never had any trauma. Okay, well, you're the lucky one, because the truth of the matter for me is, especially since I have now borne witness to exactly how this trauma is embedded within every one of us. It's very innocent. The parents certainly don't mean to instill said trauma, but it happens because when, like I said, when you've witnessed that from just like I said, a very innocent spot where, I saw the adult tell the child that what they witnessed was not so, because they were worried that the being that the child spoke to would take it the wrong way or be offended in some way. And the child, truthfully, was only speaking a truth that she was witness to. But by being admonished and told not to say that, and no, it's not, when indeed it was, because I was sitting right there, it was me that the comment was made of. And it was the truth. My hair was messy. That is how it starts. It's very innocent, and it just forms a little fissure because now it causes confusion in the brain. Well, wait a minute. I'm told that my hair is messy when it looks like that, to go brush it. And here I say this about her, and I'm told, don't say that. Don't, you know what I mean? This is that, it's innocent. And there has to be a way for us to begin to see. Then it accumulates over time. This keeps happening again. This is how we learn not to trust ourselves, to shut our abilities down, to now maybe we don't say anything to anyone about anything. I mean, I know for myself that is exactly how that happened. So, ending a trauma. Transform memories and symptoms is the key words here. Do not allow your soul to be oppressed. Where part of you goes, the rest of you will eventually follow. And that's a quote by Rabbi Ah, or Rabbi A. It's Rabi apostrophe A. This oracle is like a gentle lover, guiding you to cope with your reactions to stress and envision yourself in a position of power. Even if you are not a victim of trauma, and see, quite frankly, we associate the word trauma with something horrific, and I don't think that's the case. I think it can be very innocent, and it starts out very small, and it's not actually a horrific. Now, there's plenty of horrific things that happen to kids and adults alike that causes trauma, absolutely, to the psyche. At least that's my feel on the situation. Boy, that's really interesting. I just now saw how there's only one tiny sliver of that looks. Mark said a totally fixed position isn't conducive to needed growth and exploration. So, drawing substance from a fortified psychic skill when we should be focused on growing isn't profitable spiritually. I understand, for me, I just have to be open. All I can do is share. And that's really, for me, that's all I'm led to do. If someone is appreciative of whatever I do, yes, there are always ways to, and I do accept love offerings and whatnot, because sometimes they absolutely come in handy, because God forbid something happened to this, now uh, almost 8-year old laptop, I won't be able to share. So, and the times will be coming where I will offer things in exchange. Well, I do now, actually, just no one's, hit me up about it. But so, um, back to this, even if you are not a victim of trauma, which I personally don't think is even possible on this planet, actively coping is a way of responding to the challenges of everyday life. This oracle is inspiring you to trust that your life is guided. Unseen spirits flow through the wisdom of Sufi mystics. They come to help you overcome the feeling of helplessness and encourage you to be the best you can be. They are inviting you to accept the impact of trauma on your life and take direct action to improve how you respond to it. Well, I know that's a true statement, because that is one of the reasons that I ended up divorced. We were married for 28 and a half years. And 3 years prior to our divorce, finally, I saw what we had been doing to each other. I further traumatized my husband. Trust me when I tell you, as I admit that to myself. And the problem is that he didn't think so. And he didn't think he had any trauma. And he thought that the things that happened to him in his childhood did not have any bearing on the person that he was then. And this was in 2017. And the truth of the matter for me is that's not at all true for anyone on the planet. Now, it's not my job to try to fix anyone, right? But I tried for 3 years to fix me, and we just grew further and further and further apart. And so, that's the other thing that helped me see you can't fix anyone. All you can do is go about fixing self. So this says, Dear one, know that you are much loved in ways you may not always experience. You must dare to challenge old definitions of yourself by identifying them as false and recognizing they were based on circumstances that were not in your control. When you feel the full pain of your past and process and make sense of it, you can resolve your trauma. This will alter your path into the future. If you feel anxiety, for instance, you can accept and recognize the feeling, but direct your attention to something else. Watch your thoughts, perceptions, and emotions flash through your mind without being involved with them emotionally. Thoughts are just thoughts. You don't have to believe them nor let them guide your behavior. Know that there is support all around you. Creativity is a way for you to express your feelings in a positive, innovative way. By getting involved in uplifting activities, you can improve your mood and rebuild your life. The mantra here is, I will detach from being traumatized or wounded. I realize those memories and release those memories and replace them with feelings of unconditional love. I am confident in my ability to process my memories and symptoms and to thrive. Now, I've had a couple of experiences of late where my child remembers some things quite differently than I do. And so much so that I'm not sure if this is something of a timeline collapse issue or exactly what it is. But it's just an interesting observation for me to notice that that kind of thing absolutely does happen. And so, I don't know, like I said, kind of interesting to me, the way things move, you know what I mean? I'm not sure why, Mark, but I feel led to say this about what you said there in regards to profiting spiritually versus profiting monetarily. I realize that, on this planet, we're still playing the game of money. And that's what everybody wants at the grocery store. The landlord will not, take an IOU or, a thank you or, you know, he's not interested in his spiritual stuff. He's got to pay the mortgage, right? The problem for me, I don't know that it's a problem, but the issue, I will say, the issue that I've noticed is that a lot of, and I'm going to do it like this, light workers feel like, oh, we got to wake people up. We got to help folks know that there's a different way to go about things. But then we put it behind a paywall. There are, and it's frustrating for me being on a very limited income. $1,300 a month don't go very far. I'd love to experience all kinds of spiritual experimental things for myself. Would love to go and take part of a sound healing. Would love to go and take part in this or that or the other. Would love to have a subscription to this over here where I could hear what's being said. So I find a contradiction there. We must wake people up. We must show them the way, but we got to make money too. So I don't know what the answer is. I really don't, but it is frustrating to me. And I get it that I'm just fortunate that at the moment anyway, I am able to take care of my needs, my rent, my electricity. I have housemates that help me with these bills, right? So I'm very fortunate. It still doesn't leave much left over. I'm still saving right now for things that I need. I have a little envelope for this thing that I need. I have a little envelope for this thing that I need. And every month I try to put a little bit in each one of those envelopes so that eventually I'll be able to handle it, right? So I get it. I do. I get it. But the truth of the matter is, for me personally, and I get it if folks aren't called to do that, I've had to sit with, because a lot of folks say, well, that's because you have a self-worth problem. Well, that very well may be. And I have sit with it a lot for myself. However, for me, that's not the way. That's not the way for me. I keep being shown that if I show up and do what it is that I feel to do, the universe has my back. And so far, I'm okay. Am I rich? Hell no. I didn't even have a vehicle for a long time. No, not until a love offering came from one of you. Rather large love offering, and I haven't been able to take care of it all the way through because for the last 2 years I stopped having those conversations, and now it seems like folks really aren't open to having conversations. So I'm just not really sure what to do about all of that, right? Well, and what I'm referring to is Candy Girl. It's a van that was purchased, and it was meant to be my rolling bedroom slash studio, like a camper. But then, unfortunately, the folks that I trusted in getting her ready for the road kind of took me to the cleaners. So, and I misspent some of the money as well. So, there you have it, right? But now I also see that had it been that I was able to do that, I don't think I was ready to do whatever it was. So I'm not real, again, this is all experimental for me, and I'm the one that's truthful enough to tell you that. I don't really care what anybody else thinks of me because it's not my business, it's yours. I know who I am and what I'm about, and that's all okay with me. And I don't mind telling you that I'm not perfect. As it's right out there in the open anyway. So, time to play. Make time to dance and play. Dance when you're broken open. Dance if you've torn the bandage off. Dance in the middle of the fighting. Dance in your blood. Dance when you're perfectly free. Rumi. Rumi comes to remind you that play and developing a more playful attitude are not only enjoyable but essential to good mental health. I find that's very true. If I'm not able to laugh at my own damn self, then what am I doing? Because I have shown myself time and time again just how ridiculous I can be. Arrest me. This change plays an important role in building strong, healthy relationships by bringing people closer to you, creating positive bonds, and resolving conflict and disagreements. If you are looking for new relationships, playfulness and humor can be effective tools, not just for attracting others, but also to help overcome insecurity and feelings of embarrassment that might have arisen in your past encounters. Well, because of my past and what I have been through, trust me when I tell you, I don't think there is anything that could happen to me that would be so embarrassing that I couldn't share. When you've been laid out, spread eagle, naked for all the hospital to see on a daily basis for months at a stretch, embarrassment is gone. Just let me say that. That was a real live material instance. And now, what I am, and I now see that that was all in preparation for me to stand before the world naked now. And that is how I present myself. Because I know I used to present myself as a know it all. Oh, trust me. Like I had the answers for everybody. And I know now that that's not even possible. Do not limit your own joy by being self conscious and overly concerned about how you'll look and sound to others when you attempt to be lighthearted. There is no reason to be worried that being playful will make you look ridiculous. I can't believe you used the same word I just did. Reclaim your inner child by setting aside regular quality time to have fun. Well, being old, I that's all I do now. That's all I do now is I am allowing my inner child, my wounded inner child to show me the way actually. Reclaim your inner child by setting aside regular quality time to have fun. The more lighthearted you are, the easier it becomes. Sprinkle your life with more fun things that make you lose yourself in the moment, beloved. You need to play, especially when you believe you are too busy. Why not start now? The great Oracle Rumi encourages you to be in love with life no matter what you are doing. When you remember to dance, you feel joy. Plan to do something playful. Be spontaneous. Set aside your inhibitions and do something fun that you haven't done for a long time. Well, that's good advice, and I think I'll take it actually. There's a mantra here. I am in love with life. There is always time to play, always time for fun, always time for love. And I do feel like that's a very true statement. And for me personally, it is the only way forward at this juncture. I have no interest in being anything other than who I am in the moment. And for me personally, that absolutely requires me to be honest with myself and all those around me, and be open to seeing myself in all ways. So the singer of Transfiguration wants to be last because, as I said, G. Habya actually came out as well. And I really feel like this is absolutely imperative for all of us to realize, right? And so the key words here for G. Habya are imaginary fears, unreal hazards, realistic caution. He refuses to tell me what the G in his name stands for because he says the more we know about him, the less power he has, and the harder it is to do his job. This tells you a lot about him. His powers lie in our imaginations and fears, not in the real world, not in any of the real worlds. This is the wicked thing in the closet who keeps frightened children awake at night with eerie snuffling and wuffling sounds. But when you turn on the light and open the door, he isn't there. Brian wrote, he exists only through the collection of our fears. The Habya thrives on fears, getting stronger and stronger until we face him. He is a sham, a tiny fear blown all out of proportion, and the smallest positive thought will banish him. I'm sorry, I keep being shown my experience that I have shared on the channel before of an entity who stomped around my room for, I honestly, I don't know how long because it was quite some time. Um, and it wasn't it wasn't that fast for me to get rid of that entity. But I always have and still do feel like if something shows up in my field, it's another portion of me coming for to being loved into wholeness. And I had just done a soul retrieval ritual, a Tibetan soul retrieval ritual, probably about 2 to 3 weeks before this happened. And so, but luckily, I had some information on board in regards to fear and the fact that being frightened is one thing, but moving over into full blown fear is actually consent for that being who is trying to scare you. So I kept myself from moving over into full blown fear and simply repeated that I know that you are another portion of me and I love you. And I just kept saying that. And eventually I felt this being acquiesce and actually integrate into my field. It was another portion of me. Now, your individual mileage is absolutely going to vary and it will depend on your own reactions to things, in my view. So I'm going to say this again. He is a sham, a tiny fear blown all out of proportion, and the smallest positive thought will banish him. All of fairyland knows this, and none is afraid of him. G. Habya's job is to wave our imaginary fears in front of us, making them look as alive and real as he can. He's pretty good at this. The challenge he offers us is to see that certain fears of ours are imaginary and to distinguish them from things we actually need to be cautious about. In this way, he tries to teach us to look past the fear and see the realio trulio truth, whatever that truth is. It's a difficult job, and G. Habya, the Pook, the Gotcha, the Feline, and few other hardworking fairies get together twice a week for otherworld nectar, hazelnuts, cheese, and applesauce, and to grumble about humans and to support each other. The work they do, hard as it is merely an apprenticeship for the much harder work which they get to wear for which they get to wear a starry crown, like Epona's wild daughter and Lys of the Shadows. Remember, we had her earlier on in this week. It takes a lot of practice and skill in dealing with human flaws to get promoted to that level. If you could hear the stories they tell. And I noticed that this is card number 61. Numerologically, that's a 7. And that is a very divine number for me. I don't know exactly why, but it just feels divine. It is time to look for the truth beyond our fears, to distinguish between what is real and what is just our projection of old traumas and fears into our imaginary future. By delving into our old patterns, we can see past them to a more liberating life. Only by facing these fears honestly and seeing them for what they are do we gain greater ability to open our hearts to the singer of courage and gain in strength to face the really difficult challenges in our lives. Each false fear confronted and resolved makes us so much stronger. I do feel like that's a true statement too. Now, the big mamma jamma for today is card number 11, the Singer of Transfiguration, which I do feel like, and don't ask me exactly when or how because I haven't been shown that, but I do feel that there is going to come a time on the planet when those of us who, and again, your individual mileage is absolutely going to vary, and I could be all wet with what I'm about to say. But I do feel, because I keep being shown that transfiguration actually is coming in some way. And I'm not quite certain what I mean by that, but I keep being shown myself in different stages of transfiguration, moving from that which you see before you here to something else. And so, how exactly that's to happen, when, what it's going to look like, who all might actually witness it, I have no idea. And but I do feel like this is coming. So, and it even, if you ask me, it even really looks like a phoenix, which is all about transfiguration. The key words for this card are transformation, transcendence, metamorphosis. The Singer of Transfiguration tells us that we have been through the gate. We have passed through the initiation process and we have reached a new way of being, reflecting deep transformation within ourselves. Well, I do know that I have transformed quite a bit within me, physically and certainly emotionally and psychically. There are a lot of things different, psychologically, even. Things will never again be what they once were. Things will never be seen in the same way by us. And this is a good thing. This singer's joyful, passionate, bright blaze of color heralds a time of fulfillment and accomplishment. As with other singers, the power and joy of this one radiates especially strongly to the things and beings symbolized by the cards around it. Wow. Okay, that's real interesting. Given what these cards are, especially this one. Wow. Okay. Lost my place. Bear with me. So sorry. Things will never be seen again. As with other singers, the power and joy of this one radiates especially strongly to the things and beings symbolized by the cards around it. Like the reborn, renewed phoenix, this singer is aflame with vibrant, expanded life. There really isn't much I can say about this. Not even the fairies seem to have anything to add. They are just sitting around here smiling blissfully. The cat in my lap, Sylvie, is purring so loudly it sounds like she is singing, and well, indeed, she is. So are we all. Jackpot. This card in a reading signifies the joy of success after a time of struggle. A new way of life has been accepted and is being integrated. A sense of inner peace is growing. I really have noticed that I have a sense of inner peace in me that I've never had before. I mean, it's really hard to explain, but this is a time of consolidation and joy, and is both a reward for past achievements and a time of preparation for the next climb up the path. Wow. Okay. That is an awesome reading for today. I am feeling nudged to draw a surrender card because, again, for me personally, I have a lot still to surrender to. When you've been an abused being for, much of one's life, childhood, and then, unfortunately for me, well, no, I won't say that. Actually, it's more fortunately for me, I also was exposed to quite a bit of abuse as an adult as well. And although I now look at it and feel about it quite differently than I used to. Okay, that card, yep. Um, and so I really had, and sometimes still do, have issues with the word surrender because of what it. Oh, wow. Okay. So this one came out, surrender the idea you can fix someone. If you're hanging out in a relationship thinking, oh, I can fix that person, trust me, no, you can't. And neither should you, because it's not your place, because you're coming at it from your own view through all of your own perception filters, and you have no idea how they're coming through theirs. It's time for a relationship to shift. It doesn't work to try to fix someone. Each person must be accountable for his or her own healing. And I tell you, it doesn't matter how much you love that being, because trust me when I tell you, I still love my ex-husband. I always will. I love all my exes. So, um, you know, just coming to that realization for myself uh, was the absolute best thing I could have ever done for myself. Um, Thinking that we know a better way than the being that we're with, or we see as suffering, or we are witnessing whatever they're doing, and I might have some opinion about what they're moving through. But see, that's just it. I have no real idea of what they came here to experience. Most of us don't, actually. I don't even know what I came here to experience. Not on the highest, uh, most expanded level of myself. I don't have that information at my fingertips. I can make assumptions, but you know what that does? Assuming things, right? Um, so I don't know. I just saw my own arrogance there when trying to help fix somebody else. You know, I have no business. Gee willikers, I have trouble trying to fix myself. Okay. So the universe cards want to come out every time. So this will always be here. Time for a love fest. I like that idea. Actually, everyone is reasonable. They just have their own reasons. Yes. And usually it's worth trying to learn what they are to maximize chances of a full-blown 60s style psychedelic love fest, which is always a good thing. Groovy you, the universe. Wow, I love that. Time for a love fest. Well, I was born in 61, so really didn't have access to that sort of love fest, and it wasn't time then. But I really would love to experience that. And I'm so fortunate that I live in a household where we all are quite aware that we are traumatized beings. We are all working on our stuff, as it were. And so having patience, unconditional love for each other really has made all the difference for me in my journey. So I want to make this, I'll say it again, I'll probably start saying it every time. If you have experienced things and you are sitting there right now listening to me, you have no one that you have been able to chat with, to share these things, to bounce ideas off of each other. This is something that I really want to do in the new year. If you feel comfortable enough to share with me, I would love to hear from you. Reach out, conscious conversation central at gmail.com. Unless we are friends on Facebook, then you can feel free to private message me. And, you know, let me know what time zone you're in. We'll get together, we'll have conversations. I want to start a group where folks feel comfortable to come and chat, to talk to each other. The only requirement is to come open minded, not with some preconceived notions or ideas about what the world is and what you perceive it to be, and especially if you think you're right. Because personally, none of us has the answers. And so for me personally, it's best to just keep an open mind to being open to being shown what actually is. Because I feel like if it's not this year, it will be soon, where we are going to see a lot more of what things actually are. And I don't think they are at all what they appear, which is why I left this up here, because that phenomenon did more for me than anything else. Asking questions. Nothing is what it seems. Not one thing on this planet is what I've been told over 63 years. I have seen a whole lot of stuff that shows me that it's mostly just what they want you to believe, that ubiquitous they. And meaning, and I include parents, friends, society, religion, all of those things. None of that is what it appears to be. And the only way I feel like I'm going to make it through any of this is to be open to being shown where this assumption I held over here might be partially correct, but mostly incorrect. And so, if you are one of those beings who've had lots of experiences and you'd love to chat with somebody because you just don't have anybody to talk to, hit me up. I don't charge. This is a collaborative affair to me. It is where we come together as beings open to being shown all kinds of things. Become a puzzle piece collector. That's the way I feel about it. And so I hope this was helpful for you. If you were drawn here today, I hope there was something here for you. And if my energy holds, I have a really full day today, but if my energy holds, I do want to try to do an intuitive hangout session this evening. I still haven't had anyone let me know. Um, Please put it in the comments, either in this live, if you're seeing this later, now, if you know it. When I put a community post up on this channel, are you being notified? Do you get notified that a post has been made, or do you have to come to YouTube? And I guess it would only be for folks who are subscribed and have the notifications set so that you can be notified when I go live, because I don't think it would work otherwise anyway. So, but I will, you can take a look on the community tab or the posts tab. I'm not sure how it appears to everybody else, um, because that's where I will make the announcement. And I will make the announcement at least 1 hour prior to going live. I will also make an announcement on my Facebook page. Hi, Vanessa. I hope you're doing well, sweetie. I'm just getting ready to uh, sign off. So, but I am going to try to do a live intuitive hangout session this evening. We'll see. Can't promise, as usual. I will not promise, but I really want to continue with those, and I'm going to be stepping it up. Mostly because you guys, and actually you guys help me. I'm really appreciative when you show up for those. I may actually even try to do some on the Facebook page. If you're not a member, I don't know how that works actually. Crystal set us up a Facebook page, New Light Streaming Love Facebook page. Um, oh, maybe I'll even see. I don't know how to actually operate the the blog function on knewlightstreaming.love. I hope you guys will go and check that out. That's the website that Crystal, Lisa, and I have kept up. And you can find Crystal's blogs there. You can find all the beautiful artwork that Crystal has up for sale there. She's the other one of the other collaborators of this channel that does beautiful light language artwork, and will channel your own uh, piece of light work for you. And so go there and take a look around, see, she's a young single mom trying to, be involved in her metaphysical uh, ways and also pay the rent. You know what I mean? So um, you can go there and take advantage of a lot of things that she has up on offer. So maybe I'll try to see about, but of course, you would have to be signed up to receive email notifications there in order to be notified. So I'm not quite sure um, how to go about this. So if you have any ideas, I would love to hear them. Also, I'm trying to look into a different platform um, to move from Zoom over to StreamYard because I understand that I might be able to stream to multiple platforms from there And apparently, it was, see, I put Zoom in my budget. So I think they're about the same amount of money. If it's a little bit more, then I won't be able to do it because my rent's getting ready to go up. Oh, you're so sweet. Okay, so yes, I get notifications when my phone is on. Is that for the videos or is that for the posts? Like if I go in and do a post, like I was saying, do you get notified for that, Vanessa, or um just the videos and when I'm going live? That's what I'm really after. So I'm gonna do that and we'll see. So Mark and Vanessa, since you're if Mark is still here, if you guys wouldn't mind letting me know, I'll do that today, at least 1 hour ahead. And if you're not a part of New Light Streaming Love Facebook page, go over there and I don't know how that works actually because it's not a group. It's something different. Crystal set that up, so I'm not quite sure how all that works. So that's it for me for this one. I really appreciate you guys so much. I hope that you will continue to move towards that which brings you joy in each moment that presents itself to you. It truly is just a matter of your perspective. And I know that sometimes in the heat of something happening, one might not feel very joyous. But I promise you, if you will slow yourself down, take a few moments, take a breath, take a beat, and feel into it, you may just be able to see it from a different perspective, one that might actually be a lot more joyous. At least that's been my experience. So until we meet again, my friends, be well. If I can get out of here now. What?